I'm trying to take off of Neil's page and be vulnerable with you here, and be kind of living out of fight or flight, and I didn't really have a lot of tools or kind of educated myself in emotional intelligence and social intelligence, and there was a book that you recommended to me that it came at I read it right in the middle of quarantine, and I had just begun meditating for the first time at the beginning of February and journaling for the first time, and really starting to invest in a very real way of understanding how my mind works and how life has affected me and how I've been moving through it and seeing that in the context of my life and the world, my environment, how I've been affecting people in my environment, how I can make my community feel like a safer, more beautiful place, and so I was right in the middle of that work, and then quarantine hit, and I was like, oh man, now I'm gonna eat everything, and I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches solid for I think 2 weeks. Yeah. I just couldn't, and then I was like, all right, time to go to the gym.
That's
time to
food for me too.
Oh man, I couldn't. I just needed to, and it was hard. Oh, I think I have a little bit of there's a beep here. Let me move away. I think it was beep's gone. I think it was tough, like it was for everybody. There was sort of this, somebody said it beautifully to me that the world is that beep being annoying, or should I just keep talking while it's going on?
Keep going.
Okay. Somebody said it beautifully to me. A lot of what was happening that everybody was feeling and we couldn't quite put our finger on is that we were grieving the world. We were grieving that the world has changed now forever, and you can't put a lot of us, I think, couldn't quite understand what that sensation was. Like, why are we eating so much? Like, I'm fine, especially I'm not an essential worker, I'm on a TV show, I've got comforts around me, and I'm living in a situation that I need to be very grateful for. Why am I sad? How dare I be sad? And sort of acknowledging that our world is just going through massive change, and it's okay to eat all the food for a second and then get back on track and continue your personal journeys in life. I know you want to ask me questions, but I have to talk to you real quick about something because.
What do you want to know?
Well, I'm going to compliment you to bits.
Okay.
And,
go. Let's go.
No, but I'm
here for this.
I am blown away compliments. So the first part is so I've seen all the episodes, and as you know, I just want to tell this little out of school story because it's kind of funny, but one of our executives on covering the project at Sony sent an email to all of us, and I mean all of us, a lot of the crew, every cast member, and I replied. I thought, I'm going to reply. I'll write everybody a little note, and I started with Kasia to be like, hey, let me tell you. And I remember thinking, wow, she didn't blind CC everybody on that original email. Someone's going to make the mistake of hitting reply all. And that person was me. And I replied to everybody. And I was like, and so anyway, so first, sorry about the reply all there. Second.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Dude, first of all, everyone, we all know how talented you are with your, especially your emotional recall, your scene work, all that kind of stuff. But the show has not really featured you in action sequences in a way that it does this year. Stana, I mean, I'm not going to give anything away, but I will say there's kind of two, I feel major sequences. Well, there's 3 major sequences, but there's 2 that are really, really long. And I was on each of them. First of all, the first one, I'll just say that, I was watching and I was like, this is straight out of Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Identity, badass, close quarters, really cool, great design by Francois. Your stunt performing was incredible. Our stunt performers that are around us, the whole doubles, everything. It was just everybody was on fire. The way it was shot, it was really, really amazing. And that last, the big one that I'm talking about, the one where you guys, everybody anybody who's watching, it is. Will has talked about it a few times. I've seen him mention that it's like feature film quality. It is absolutely feature film level, huge, high quality. I think that I can't imagine an action film director watching you in this sequence and not being like, damn, if she can't, lead an action film. Because not only is it well choreographed and, but the storytelling, your performance behind it, driving the scene with the emotional qualities of the character, you just managed to encapsulate so much. I mean, it was, and I'm really, the worst part about me complimenting you about your stunt work is I'm glazing over the really extraordinary emotional work that you've done this season. It is.
Thank you.
No, for real. It is. For people who've never watched our show before, and they're going to start with season 1, I can't impress upon you enough how significantly improved our show gets from season to season, and in that too, that your performance, which is guiding, is the guidepost for the show throughout in every season. How I'm so proud of everyone, first of all, for improving their work truly on every level. I mean, production, writing, directing, the sound quality, the music choices that we're using, scoring, etc. But to watch your performance in season 1, how much better you are even in season 2. And this is the goal, by the way, everybody listening. Like, this is no insult to the work we've done prior. The work we want as artists is to be better and better. And it really is. It's really spectacular, Stana. I hope you feel proud, and I hope that you receive all the kindness and love that you deserve for the hard work. And I think because I don't want to give anything away by saying that. Let me say there's often a lot of, there's work that you hadn't seen me do until you got to see the show or started to see cuts. And there's work that I hadn't seen a lot of people do until I started to see cuts. And it was it was very clear, it was kind of overwhelming as I was watching the show as to how much must have been on your plate this season, between stunts, between the producing work that you're doing, between performance work that you're doing, how we were working with the writers and the directors along the way. And it was a massive undertaking. And you thrived, girl. It's really good. It's really good. It's really impressive. Making me tear up because I'm so happy for you. It's really good.
Can we talk about, because now everybody's going to think that I was like, hey guys, come on the thing, come online so we can talk about me. Let's talk about you. I want this audience to experience you, Patrick, to know a couple of details about Nick.
Sure.
The details that we can give. And maybe just tell them a few of the behind the scenes so that they get to know you even better. Because they'll fall in love with you as much as with Nick by the end of this phone call, hopefully. And if they already haven't, based on everything else that you bring to the table. So, a couple of questions. Ready? Because I got my yellow notebook. The first one's super duper lame. The first one is we dealt with the pandemic, and everybody had to figure out how are we going to now record ADR, because we finished filming before the pandemic started.
Yes.
And you have a great story about what it is you had to do and how you went about it. So tell us a little bit about the stuff that you had to finagle behind the scenes.
Okay, so for those who don't know what ADR is, sometimes when you're filming, right now I had airplane flying overhead or that beep out there. If we were filming a scene and you had that beep, if that beep was over the words you were saying, you have to go into a recording studio normally that looks just like when you see in music studios, people headphones on, and you re-record those words so it sort of feels seamless, like there's no interruption between a helicopter or a construction truck or whatever is around you. And so because of quarantine, some of us were not comfortable getting in our car and going and putting ourselves potentially in harm's way, and then potentially in harming other people by if we were to acquire COVID or had it already. And I chose to stay home, so they sent me this little microphone that I could plug into my phone. Then they had this app where I could watch the scenes and then record it. And I had like a workout mat, and I basically got inside of a closet. I built inside, the workout mat that I put like a blanket under the hood, and I would start recording. And for the first part, it was working pretty great. But without spoiling anything, again, there's some sections where maybe I had to be hanging upside down. And so I was listening to the recordings I was getting back, and I was like, boy, this just doesn't sound, this audio doesn't feel like it's matching the
physical reality.
Yeah, the video that I'm seeing. So I ended up like doing this hanging upside down off of a bed. I'm in the middle of a house. It's like dark outside. There's some neighbors near where I was that were not close enough, but I'm also I'm not spoiling anything I say this, but I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs to the point that I was scared that the police were going to get called on me for the ADR work. But it was really funny. It was really silly, and it was and it turned out great. I mean, I forgot honestly the very sequence that I'm speaking of right now. I forgot. Which was the truck. I forgot that I had to do that. So I guess that's good.
I love how we're talking in code. I know exactly what.
I know we can't, and I don't want to, because I want people to watch it and be like, whoa. There's so many fun surprises.
There's that one topic. Again, talking around it. There's that one topic where we have to protect the audience. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's kind of like
there's gonna be some fun. I think there's some pretty huge stuff. There's a couple that I'm around and involved in, and there's like probably a solid 7 to 10 other ones that I feel like the audiences that you're involved in, that the audiences is just going to be like, it's good TV, man. It's like what I want to watch when I'm watching TV. I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised both by performance and what actors are creating together, and I want to be surprised by story and plot. And there's so many moments like that this year that are like, what?
Yeah. What is that like? You've done everything. You've done theater. You've done great theater. You've been in features. You've done other television work. This is a third season of a project where you've seen a character that you've worked on take an evolution, and you've partnered up with different directors throughout the process. So maybe talk a little bit about what it's like to journey on this kind of a story over, almost 4 years of growing this character. Because like I said with Neil, and what Neil was saying as well, everybody that came to this story contributed just 100%, 110%. And you're one of those actors who is committed to the nth degree to try to make sure that you tell the story that you're responsible for as best as you can. And you want to be a part of a story that is doing that same, or is committing that same sort of energy. And so talk a bit about what it's like to create a story and a character over 3 seasons, and then maybe also, because Kasha is going to be the first director that all of them are going to experience this 3rd season, what it was like to work with this little graphic novel drawing director for 6 episodes in the 3rd season, and maybe you could give us some of those illustrations.
Okay, so there's a couple things that you talked about there. One, what Neil really did so well, and you guys talked about in your conversation, was not separating the human and from the artist, and his journey in humanity, and how that was reflected in his character, and how as we are growing as artists, how we are also we're growing as actors. We're improving, we're making adjustments, and for me, I think it's important to it was my first TV show. It was I had done some TV shows where I was on for like a season or I was on for 4 episodes, but I had not had the opportunity to develop a character like this. In addition to that, it was such an incredible learning experience for me because I experienced so much failure in the process, and good artistic failure. Like, I'm constructively looking back on it and saying, how would I like to improve? And in season 1, I approached it almost as I would a play, but it's not. It's a TV show. And I approached it almost like I had when I was doing a feature film, but it's not. It's a TV show. And there was so much that I was getting in my own way a lot. I see that, like, when I can look back, I can see like how I was getting in my own way, and I felt like intruding sometimes the process of artistically, and you can't help, by the way, you don't know, like, you're doing your best in the moment, so
oh my god,
you're really like
hindsight now,
of course you're like trying your best. When you look back, you're like, oh man, that could have been better if, or I wish I had known about this new thing that I've learned about now. And that was, when Katia joined us at the end of season 2, I think she helped me to discover a joyful approach that, like, this doesn't, you talked about how you put yourself in that place, and sometimes it consumes your day when you're having that I'm being reunited with my son scene in that conversation with Neil. And I think I would get so enveloped in that I forgot about the second part, which you said, which is, making thrillers as comedy, which is like, hey man, this is also life. Like, let's not separate the artist from the human, and let's enjoy this experience. Let's make sure the people I'm surrounding myself are enjoying this experience. And I think that Katia helped me kind of understand. That's right. Understand that relationship too. And I hadn't begun this sort of journey yet of exploring further my own personal lack of emotional and social intelligence yet. So I'm still sort of existing, even while we were filming season 3, with a limited tool set as a human being. But having her when I'm...
As we all are, bloody hell. Don't you
totally.
It's kind of a growing process right now.
It's life journey, man. This is the journey of life. It's like I posted something yesterday on Instagram that's like, you can always begin. You can always... It's never too late to start. It's never too late to, like, take a look. It's never too late to say you're sorry, admit that you want to make an adjustment. This is part of the beauty of that I'm embracing now, that I'm like, oh, it's so free. And honestly, it's like part of what's
liberating.
This movement is also encouraging. I mean, that's what the Black community is kind of saying is to everyone is like, if you have been existing in a shameful place or a place that hasn't been making your community feel safe, you can start right now. It's okay. You don't have to feel...
Paradigm shifts are okay.
And we don't need to be threatened by that. But anyhow, so this year, working with Katia, gosh, it's like hard to talk about. Let me just say, I had a lot of time with Katia. Just us. I don't know how else to say. And we were able to, or I was able to really feed off of her artistic joy and her artistic. And she does, like, I mean, I say to people she's my favorite director often because there's so much that she is able to, that she encapsulates that I love about artistry. She's deeply passionate, but she's easy going. And she's deeply compassionate. And
yet she's fearless, you know what I mean?
Totally.
She's like the tip of the spear every morning.
Like her bravery and courage, her sense of self, her personal humanity, and her artistic humanity, and the way that she relates to people, and she makes everyone, like good human beings should, make everyone feel valued at all times, no matter who they are, whether it's you or it's somebody who's who's a PA who's not even getting paid. Um,
Yeah.
she values them values them equally, and I really adore that about her. And to answer your question about the drawings, yeah, you guys, Kasia, I've always said Adamic. How do you say her last name? Because I'm going to screw this
I
up.
say Adamic.
Adamic.
You know.
You're probably
Yeah.
closer because you're from that portion of the world. She is an extraordinary artist. So on top of her, I mean, yes, visual artist. So on top of having this extraordinary ability to communicate with the artists that she's working with, she can draw every thought that she has so that she can deliver it to the director of photography, to production designers, to us, and let us understand her vision so that by the time we begin or arrive at the scene.
She had an entire panel of
it's incredible.
Shooting that day. We were looking at comic books every morning.
It's amazing.
Like, okay, that's what we got to shoot. Got it. No problem. These are the angles. Got it.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's funny because I hadn't, until you just said it, like we've talked about our show being graphic novel before, but it's funny because I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't tie that, her drawings are the graphic novel. Like I didn't even put that together till right now. She's special. What a special time. And Greg's episodes are really.
Can you imagine?
Really,
Hey, by the way, can you direct the last 4 episodes of this? And by the way, they're the craziest ones.
So insane.
I know you knew, but come on in,
I can't believe. I mean, I really can't believe how much those last episodes are so. Can I say they're action heavy? I can say there's a lot of action. There's a lot of action.
You can say that.
I can say there's a lot of action. And for those,
action.
Yeah, for those of you that are watching that don't know, action's very hard to film. It takes a very long time. Where you can shoot a dialogue scene, and dialogue scenes take time too, by the way. But if you and I are doing a scene and it's 2 pages long, that might take an afternoon, or it might take half the afternoon. But it's going to take some time to do, and that scene might end up being 3 minutes long. To shoot like 30 seconds of an action sequence can be a day sometimes. I mean, it's really tough. So when you see those,
and you know better than most actors because you're comfortable in that genre. You've done features that are in that genre. You know, when we would come to set and you needed to just off the cuff do something because the scene required it, you were like, oh yeah, no problem, right? So that's a world that you feel very like.
Yeah, I feel really comfortable in action action stuff. It is very fun, and honestly, that education that I've had, working with like Wade Eastwood, who does all the Mission Impossible movies and designed all those crazy, dropping off the helicopter, hanging outside of the airplane stunts, and all those awesome fight sequences. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to compliment you and compliment Francois and our stunt performers, is because I feel like that designer on that level is the kind of human being that would be watching our TV show, which was shot for a budget that he's never seen before, with in a time constraint that he's never seen before. And would be blown away, knowing that you trained to do those things, that you were outside of any stunt that we can die doing, we did. And that's a huge compliment. I mean, that's massive, because a lot of TV shows, especially TV shows, just because the time constraint is so limited, they don't want, nor do the actors want sometimes, to spend the time devoting to those sequences, because it's just it's just too. I do too. I love it. I find it very
fun.
For body, for mind. It's like, my favorite parts when I was playing sports was practice. I loved practice. I love honing the skills, and the whole stunt training is exactly that. It's like going to athletic practice. And I also liked practice a lot because it was the non-competitive part.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing I never really liked about sports was like me versus you. I never liked winning. I always felt bad about winning or something, you know? I enjoy more the team effort.
Where it's a team.
Yeah.
Where it's a community.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in 2 seconds. I want to ask you one question because we just launched in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
And you traveled a little bit in Brazil. And so just speak a little bit about whether it's your food experience, where you visited, because I know that our Brazilian audience is just going to adore the fact that you got to soak up some of their world and culture. And I envy that a bit because I can't wait to go myself, which is obviously going to have to wait a little longer than anticipated. But yeah, tell us a little bit about going and experiencing that world.
Yeah, well, first of all, love to Brazil, love you guys. I also, I have to start by saying, I hope you're all staying safe. I know that Corona is hitting you guys in a very real way right now, so I hope everybody's safe, and I hope that our show can be a respite from the stress that I'm sure you're all encountering. Man, that country, what a place. My ex-girlfriend is from there, and so I spent I guess a total of probably about 4 months living in and around Sao Paulo, and I got to experience, I mean, everything from weddings to, you know, some of the best street food that I've ever had in my life to some of the best restaurants. I'm a big food guy, so I like food, like eating like with chefs and things like that. And one of the best meals I've ever had in my life was Alex Atala, who I know every single Brazilian knows.
Oh my God, I love him.
Oh, he's awesome.
I love him.
He's awesome. Got to meet him too. I remember I tweeted out. I was like, hey, you know, had this experience at this restaurant, or made a story about it. And then he wrote me and he was like, hey, let me know next time you're around. I'll come say hey. And he's just like super sweet, open-hearted, nice guy, gentle giant.
Did you see his chef's kitchen? Did you see his chef's
kitchen?
Yeah,
the chef's table thing on Netflix.
Chef's table, that's it. Yeah.
That is the reason why I went there. I had seen it and I was like, I have to go eat this guy's food. And I ate the ants that he serves that are indigenous Amazonian, indigenous tribes have been eating for years. It was just such an extraordinary place, and
also how he's contributing actually to the country and to that world.
Exactly.
And to the environment in general. It's awesome.
And the people are like a lot of I mean, everywhere that I visited in South America, there's this sort of very different than America. There's a friendliness that we often may not have. Sometimes we can be a bit individualistic and sort of like not get to know your neighbors kind of thing sometimes. And it's the community is very strong in Brazil, and I really love that too.
Well, enjoy Brazil, guys. I hope you guys enjoy all of the episodes that you're watching now. Patrick, I'm going to jump. I'm going to go and say hello to someone.
Yeah. I'll keep watching. I'm going to be watching. And hi, everybody that I haven't seen, like Will and whomever is going to show up. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Stana. I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited for all the love you're going to get for this. Yeah. Well, I know, but particularly, man, come on now. You guys, it's a crazy season for you. It's pretty rad. All right. All right. Good to see you. Bye.
Okay, now I gotta figure out how to get. Will, did you sign up? Will, did you sign up? Will? Ah. So, Will. Oh, Patrick. Let me try to get you in. Add. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Senti's come out tomorrow. Broke up from school last week.
Yeah?
Doing good, yeah. How are you?
Good. Is it like crazy late for you right now, or are you okay?
It's 8 o'clock, so it's alright.
Okay, good. Let me jump into the questions really quick, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, conversation, but if I spoil something, if you spoil something, we'll like beep each other, just like Neil said earlier. Yeah. Okay. So you've been doing this character for 3 years, almost 4 years, right? And you've been jumping back and forth from location. So when you weren't filming, you were going back home and you were doing schoolwork and just normal everyday life and auditioning and so on, right?
Yeah.
So maybe what I think we could start off with is, what is that like? You know, you were tiny when we started, right? You were like half the size, at least 2 feet shorter, right? And now here you are. Like, there was a period where you and I were looking eye to eye nearly, and I was like, oh, okay, this has changed, right?
Yeah.
This last season. What was that like for you, kind of balancing the schoolwork, balancing the work, balancing jumping between these 2 countries? Your parents are so beautiful. One of them would come with you every time that you came down, and they're just like the coolest set parents that I've met. Honestly, they're really just like,
Thank you.
They gave you space to do what you needed to do, but they were also there just in case you needed extra support or help or whatnot. And they were just like really fun to have alongside as a cast for us. So tell me a little bit about, what's that like? This is a 3-year journey for you. This is a character that you've been playing now since you were 2 feet shorter. And how did you balance doing that work with all of the homework and stuff that you had when you had to get home?
I think at first it was harder because I weren't used to it. It was, I'd come back from Bulgaria and I had a ton of catch-up work to do from my school. But then as I got into it through the seasons, I've kind of just adapted to that. I know I've got homework when I come back, so as soon as I come back, I'll do it. And it's almost as if me and Flynn have grown up together in a weird way. We've both come from being kids to young adults in a weird way.
Yeah.